Hi, and welcome to another edition of the UNCAGED podcast. I'm your host, Dan Hawk, alongside my co-host, Executive Director of Athletics, Mr. Dustin Smith. We're going to be joined by Randall King on this episode. But before we get there, I just have to talk about this impressive run that this team has been on. 16-0 that they've been able to put up for their numbers, for their record.
Yeah, and that's their win-loss record.
Right.
I mean,
we haven't even gone into their statistics on pitching or hitting.
Talking about their numbers at the plate and what our pitcher has done in the circle and how she's limited offenses, and it's just really been an impressive run for what our Lady Tigers have done. I say Lady Tigers, what our Tigers have done on the softball diamond. But it's not a shock if you look out there at the board and you see the regional championships that we've won and the success that Coach King has had. It's not a shock to anybody, and people know around the state that BA is going to be loaded year in and year out, and this offense is just a juggernaut from top to bottom.
You've been in athletics for a long time. You ever seen numbers like the way they're putting up? And I know it's slow pitch, it's different than fast pitch and all that, but regardless, the numbers they've been able to put up at the plate are just astronomical.
I mean, I played some slow pitch, men's leagues and church leagues, whatever you want to call it, but I didn't hit like these girls hit. I mean, they can flat hit the softball, and it. We used to call it light power or light tower power, and we got some girls that almost were hitting it off the light towers last night, and Scarborough and Childers, and you can put Kenya in there as well. I mean, people
the list goes on.
I mean, they turn that softball around really quickly, and I know the fence isn't super far out there,
sure.
And that's the nature of slow pitch. I didn't really understand that until really getting to watch it. I know Oklahoma is one of 3 states that play slow pitch still, and so it's a different game. It's a home run derby almost, but you got to get girls on to be able to dent the scoreboard a little more than solo shots you can give up. You don't want to give up the 3 and 4 run shots and consistently, and you definitely don't want to do it back to back to back when we've got people like Childers and Scarborough and Kenya and Bulware, all of them up and down the lineup. Oh, and let's not forget Emily Evans leading off that really can hit the softball. For as small as she is, she can really hit the softball, and it's just power, just girls that can flat hit it, and they play good, solid defense too. When you're shutting teams out in slow pitch, that tells you how good of a team it is, and it's difficult to do. It's difficult to keep teams off the board, and we've done that on a number of occasions this year on route to 16-0 record.
I'm glad you brought up keeping opposing teams off the scoreboard. Josie Henson, I believe an ERA under 2, slow pitch.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Well, I mean, it's and you try to figure out the nuances of how to pitch.
Right.
Put the backspin, put the spin on it, side spin, whatever you want to call it. You're not throwing curveballs. You're not throwing off speed because it's going to be about the same speed and it's going to be about the same height. But whether you're going to throw it deep, you're going to throw it shallow, you're going to pitch it inside and see if you can get away with that and try to get girls handcuffed when they're trying to swing. There's a lot of things that you can do if you got a pitcher that knows what they're doing. And I'm not saying that we haven't seen pitchers that know what they're doing. We've also got some girls that can turn the ball around really quickly and really turn on a softball and go either the opposite field or they can take the short route and get it over the fence, and they don't have to run very hard. They just got around the bases. But Coach King's got a plethora of offensive weapons that he can use. But it always starts defensively, obviously, in the circle. And what Henson's done in the circle is just kind of mind-boggling when you look at it from a slow-pitch softball perspective. You don't see that kind of ERA in slow pitch.
Going off of that, hitting is always going to play catalyst, it seems like, in slow-pitch softball. And I know you touched on it a little bit with Henson in the circle, but it's not just her. It's the girls behind her and whatnot. To keep teams off the scoreboard at all is impressive.
Yeah, you just can't make mistakes. Defensively, they're going to hit the ball, and you got an extra outfielder in slow pitch, which helps. Can cover some ground, but they're going to hit the ball, and so you've got to be sound defensively. When they hit it, you got to get outs. If they're not going to hit it over the fence and it's a playable ball, you need to be able to get outs. And our left fielder has got a phenomenal arm. And so if a ball's hit there and a girl's trying to go first to third, I wouldn't recommend it because she's going to get to the ball and got a good chance to throw you out. And she's throwing from the wall to third, no hop. It's just right there, and they're ready to make a play. So defensively, it's important. Obviously, Henson's numbers are ridiculous, but it's helped because her defense behind her is so solid.
I'm assuming at this point, the way they've been playing, I mean, it's state or bust in a lot of ways in their head. But not just that, they want to continue to do what they've been doing this whole season.
Yeah, and I know Coach King well enough to know it's one game at a time, and
Right.
he wants to dominate that game and win that game. And tonight we're going to get to play Bixby in 2 varsity games, which should be some really good softball. The crazy thing to me about slow pitch softball is it was last week we played 3 games in less than 3 hours, and it moves quickly. But again, it goes back to that defensively. If they're going to put the ball in play, you got to be able to make the play. You got to make a stop. You got to just be sound defensively. And so now we're starting to see some teams, and we're going to start seeing some teams as we approach regionals, as we approach the state tournament. Obviously, you don't take any of that for granted. You want to win one game at a time and score more than they do, even if it's one. But our season didn't end with a state championship last year, and Coach King is wanting to make sure that doesn't happen again this year, but he's going to take it one game at a time and make sure that even if the scores are 20-0 or 20-2 like it was last night, he's going to want to make sure that we are disciplined the next time out and that we play clean defensively, we swing it really well at the plate, and hopefully score a lot of runs and outscore the other team.
I know that we have a lot of special coaches here at Broken Arrow High School, and to me, Randall King is one of the most stoic coaches, very quiet, soft-spoken, but I know he gets after the girls and wants them to be, on all cylinders. What has he meant to this program and having him part of your staff?
Well, embracing when we started slow pitch, I mean, he had to be behind that. He was really building a fast pitch foundation and really has been seeing some success. And when we were going to start slow pitch, we had to talk to him, and he said, all right, I'll do it. Gives me an opportunity to coach these girls again, and he's embraced it. And, it's funny to me. My daughter's a manager, and this year because she's medically can't play right now. And so she's talked to me about, man, we got hitting practice. I'm like, how do you have hitting practice with slow pitch? Because it should be the same. I mean, it's not like you're seeing changes in velocity.
Correct.
You're not seeing the ball move really. But he is adamant about having batting practice and then fundamentally sound defensively. He pours it all into it. And I was talking to a coach from another state a couple weeks ago, and he told me, you got the legend. You got the legend in the state of Oklahoma coaching softball, and both having him for both fast pitch and slow pitch. These girls get to hear the constant voice, the consistent theme out of him, and what his expectations are, and they rise to that level. And he demands that they be very good, and they are. They've had a phenomenal year. They had a phenomenal year in fast pitch. He would say we came up 2 games short of where we wanted to be, but he pushes our girls. And that's a great comfort from my chair to know we've got a coach who's going to do it the right way and has built success, and our kids are going to get to experience success because they play for Coach Randall King.
Now, I know I've asked you for other sports as to where the sport's heading. Is it going the right direction? Because softball's so unique where it has the fast pitch and slow pitch. Where are we going with softball? Is it going in the right direction? Do you want to see just fast pitch throughout the course of the year? Do you like this slow pitch? What's your thoughts?
I like opportunities for kids to play. And if you play just one season a year, like if we were to play just fast pitch only, like where I came from, Arkansas, they only played in the fall. But this gives them 2 seasons. They get to play in the fall and the spring, and they're playing. And we talk about it with whatever sport it may be. You want to just have opportunities, innings played or minutes played in basketball or sets played in volleyball. You want to just, the more time that you can get out on a field in softball, the better. And so I like the 2 seasons. I like the opportunities that they have. It gives girls the opportunity to play more. Now they have travel ball too, and they'll play into the summer, so it's almost year round what softball's become. I don't like the specialization that's part of that year round thought process, but I do like the opportunities for kids to be able to participate in extracurricular activities, and having 2 seasons for softball, 2 competitive seasons. I just love seeing kids compete, and this gives them an opportunity to compete. And you see them compete each at bat, you see them compete each inning, you see them compete each game, and that's exciting for me.
Mr. Randall King, he'll be joining us next on the UNCAGED podcast, so stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Your side hustle keeps you moving. We'll help you get where you really want to go. T2CU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. We're also proud to be team orthopedist for FC Tulsa. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
For families who like to build their wealth while staying liquid, we have flexible rate CDs to keep your funds working hard, even when you're not. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. The right balance.
At Ascension St. John, you'll find advanced heart care, brain and spine care, and personalized cancer care. And we excel just as much in the things that can't be measured. Listening more closely, caring more compassionately.
Life happens in a hurry. Our money experts will help you keep up. TTCU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
And welcome back to the UNCAGED podcast. We're now joined by Head Coach Randall King of the girls softball program, alongside my co-host, Mr. Dustin Smith. We were on the call last night, big-time win at home. There's been a lot of big-time wins in this slow-pitch spring sports season. How have you been able to get it done so effectively? Let's just start off with that, Coach.
Well, we have really good hitters in our lineup and play pretty good defense most of the time, and our pitcher does an outstanding job for slow pitch, and you can't just shut people down, but she's done a great job so far.
When you have a lineup that is just banging hits left and right, I think it was 22 last night, how much coaching do you have to do in the aspect of teaching them to hit, or is a lot of it just the natural ability of this lineup that you have?
Well, a lot of it's natural ability, but, we also try to stress pitches we're looking for, deep or short or whatever it might be in certain situations. So
the one player, and I know we're probably going to discuss more about her, but Scarborough, who's going to be playing for the University of Tulsa this next season, she's been a catalyst to this team. How special has she been? Because I know you've coached a lot of solid talent on offense, defense, you name it, but Scarborough is at a whole new level, it seems.
She is. One, she's a great young lady, and she does things right. She's a 4.0 student, and that relates to the softball field, and she's just a leader. She does a great job for us, and she has a lot of ability.
Coach, I want to talk about a couple of girls that obviously your leadoff, when you got Emily that hits like she does, and you and I have talked about her a couple of times. She gets every bit of her body into that swing, and has incredible pop for as small as she is. But you don't usually see that from your shortstop, but she sets the tone for you offensively at the top of the lineup. I want to talk about her and Kenya, because Kenya has really found her stroke in the slow pitch season. One game she's 5 for 5 with 5 bombs, and people starting to figure out can't really just throw to her because she's going to turn around and put it over the wall. So talk about those two girls and the benefit that you have with those two.
Well, Emily's just an outstanding athlete. She's unbelievable at shortstop, and as a hitter, she can do pretty much everything. She can hit the ball the other way. She can hit for base hits. She's got a lot of power for a little girl. And Kenya is just, Kenya's strong. And she gets everything into it. And, we've been trying to move her around in the lineup to keep people from trying to walk her all the time. And so far we've had some success doing that. But she's just a big part of our lineup in the middle of the lineup.
When you moved her around defensively too, started catcher for you, and now she's playing pretty consistently at first base. So her flexibility to be able to play both positions has been, and she's played in the outfield. I always kid her that's where you want to showcase her speed out there.
Right.
But she's one of those kids that'll play anywhere you want her to play.
Right. And she's a good athlete, and she does a lot of good things for us. Like you said, she started out catching, and we decided we needed to make a change there and move her to first base, and she's done a great job for us at first base.
Go ahead.
I was going to talk about your pitcher. You mentioned her kind of briefly, but just the opportunity that she has. When you play slow pitch, it's rare to be able to shut people out, and she has consistently done that. And it's a location, obviously, pitches, and the way that she pitches the ball. Defense has a lot to do with that, obviously, but there's been a lot of balls hit right back at her that she's fielded with great ease, it almost looks like. got to give you comfort to have that in the circle for somebody that, to slow pitch when it's sometimes a home run derby.
It is, and it's kind of hard to believe, but she has a 1.45 ERA in slow pitch, and that doesn't happen very often. But she's got a good defense behind her, and she plays good defense, and she's also a big part of our hitting lineup and can do a lot of things there. But she does a good job. We started her pitching last year, and she just took it and said, hey, I'm going to do everything I can with it. She tries to throw a little spin, a little back spin every now and then, some side spin, just to try to confuse hitters a little bit.
Two girls that we have not mentioned, Jessie Piles and Boulware, both patting almost 600. Piles is over 600. Right. That's insane to think about. And I understand it's slow pitch. It's different than what we play in the fall. But regardless, they got to be seeing this softball like a beach ball at the plate.
Right. And Jessie, she's a good kid for us, does a lot of good things for us. She's one of those kind of unsung heroes that you don't really think about, but she does a lot of good things in the lineup, plays solid in the outfield. Michaela is just a hard worker, and you can put her about anywhere you want to put her, and she's going to do a good job. She's an actual infielder and catcher, but, we thought we needed to move her to right field, and she's done a great job there and come up with some big hits for us.
Well, a couple of girls we haven't talked about. Macy Childers has been she's a power hitter. She can hit one out at any time, and she solidifies. I don't know if you call her the rover or if she's playing center. I don't know which one you designate with her, but she plays solid defense, but she's also a threat at the plate as well. And then Jordan Davis has been a steady Eddie behind the plate for you. And we talked about it in the fall. We talked about, whether your seniors will come out and play. Really dictates a lot of what your offense looks like, obviously what your team looks like. But you've gotten some out of Macy, obviously a senior, Jordan, a senior, that have come in and really solidified your lineup both offensively and defensively.
Macy is an outstanding outfielder, has a great arm. The other day she threw a girl out from the fence and on a one-hop throw to third base, and unbelievable power at the plate. And, she's in the middle of our order for a reason. And she does a great job. She's
may come by that.
Yeah,
naturally, her dad could hit too.
He could. She's second on the team in RBIs right now behind Aaliyah, and both of them have 9 home runs. Jordan is just a leader. I mean, she does. We started her out at first base at the beginning of the year and moved her back to catcher just because we thought we needed a more vocal person back there, and she does a great job there.
When you have this team constructed, earlier in the year, did you imagine that? I mean, I'm looking at the stats; they're right in front of me, and nearly half the roster's batting over 500. Did you imagine that's how strong they were going to be at the plate?
Well, the one positive is all these kids started for us last year in slow pitch too, and we only lost one player off that team, so that's a big part of it. They've been there; they've done the big games, and that's something as we go forward. As our competition gets better, we need to improve on is just stay consistent on what we're doing and keep hitting the ball.
Where does this team rank up as far as the teams that you've coached here at Broken Arrow? I'm talking fall, spring, you name it. I mean, where does this team stack up?
It's good. We had a team in 2015 that, believe it or not, our 2 through 6 hitters all hit 20 home runs in slow pitch. So, and that's actually the team that won it all. And when you get to the state tournament, you've got to hit home runs. I mean, that's the only way you're going to win. You got to score 15, 16 runs a game. And hopefully we have a lineup that we can do that this year.
Well, Coach, I watched one game this year. Baseball is overdoing baseball, and I look over, and we scored 20-something runs in one inning. Mm-hmm. And then I know after that game, it was like 27-0, and you had a long talk with the players afterwards, and you came out, and the first thing you said to me is, I watched your video, the video that you sent, and you wanted to send a message to the kids that it wasn't just about wins, but it was the way they carried themselves. How important is everybody being locked in, not just your 10 that are on the field, but everybody throughout the lineup, throughout the roster. How important is it for them to be locked in and what's going on?
It's real important. The younger kids that are on the bench right now, it's good for them to see the older kids be leaders, do things right. And hopefully that's teaching them for when they get the opportunity to play later that it's going to make a big difference in the way they play too and the way they treat people. the way they react on the bench. And, I'm not saying we're always right in the way we do that, but we try to strive to teach that, and most of them do a pretty good job.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned from this team?
Well, like I said, we got to be more consistent. I know that sounds funny being 16-0, but, we've had games that we've kind of put it in coast mode, and that can't happen. The bigger games you get in, you can't give up innings where you walk a person, you make an error, things like that. That's always going to come back to haunt you in slow pitch, and that's something that we got to improve on.
One player we haven't mentioned, Taylor Clay. She's your second baseman, but there was a time when Emily was out and you could move her over to short if you had to. Aaliyah would play some short. But Taylor's also a left-handed hitter, and that throws a wrinkle. You got your right-handed power hitters that pretty good 1-2 punch, obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really, as you roll that down there. When you can bat her in the 2-hole behind Emily, who chances are she's going to hit a home run or she's going to be on base. Right. And then Taylor's got an opportunity from the left side, but plays a really solid second base as well.
She does a great job. We kind of think of her and Emily as our tone setters for the middle of our lineup, and then we got Emily Gilliland in the bottom of the lineup with Michaela Bower, and both of them tone setters just to get the top of the order back up to the plate, and they've been doing a great job of that so far.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you stopping by on this edition of the Uncaged podcast, breaking down all things softball with my co-host, Mr. Dustin Smith. We appreciate it. We'll get you down the line. Until next time, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, and go Tigers.